Is it possible to upgrade the Grand Archive deck with nothing but bulk? That is the question we want to answer today. In this series, I'll be going through the sets that have been released across the history of this game and picking out the best budget under $1 cards that you can pick up for your deck. And the reason for that is because I've been meeting new players, new communities who have joined this game, have introduced this game to their communities in different countries. And whether it's accessibility, shipping, income, whatever the issue is, not everyone has access to all the expensive cards or access to even cards in the first place, other than sealed products. So let's say you've opened a pack of Dawn of Ashes, or what's available in your store is Dawn of Ashes. What would that benefit you? What cards could you possibly get from that set? So this is what I want to explore in this series. I want to go through every set that has been released in Grand Archive so far and look at the budget bulk cards that have been released and the selection that you can make from these cards to upgrade your deck. So you can skip through the video for the list, but just to give a few disclaimers, Grand Archive as a game does not have set rotation. That means that every card that's been released since the beginning of the game till now is playable. This might change in the future, but for now, that's the way it is. So, which is a good thing. I mean, any set you buy could potentially have cards you could use, and that's always a good thing. You don't have to worry about your cards being unplayable in a certain format or whatever. So let's look through Dawn of Ashes and see, obviously as the premier set of this game, it introduced a lot of powerful cards, but also a lot of good staples. So in this list, we will explore the top 10 material deck cards and the top 10 main deck cards that were released in Dawn of Ashes that are under $1, that you can even find in your bulk bins. So let's go through them. Starting with the material deck, we have Nullifying Lantern, which is a Regalia card that is 0 cost. It's a norm card, as you can see, and it's a hate card, plain and simple. It counters certain strategies, and it can shut down certain strategies as well. Like if you bring this out against Suzaku, for example, and Suzaku's trying to revive from the grave, they can no longer do that because the cards in the grave are no longer fire, for example. So it's instances like this where a card like this for 0 cost, costs under $1, can help you combat more powerful decks, more expensive decks, let's say. So this is a really good card to have. If you can pick it up from Dawn of Ashes, great. It's also been reprinted with Phantom Monarch, so that's also a plus. Next, we have Chalice of Blood. Chalice of Blood is a very powerful card, but it's very conditional. So obviously it's better played in decks where your champion gets to have higher health, or you have a Serene Spirit, for example. So things like Astra Arisana, for example, you can just play Serene when you play it with Serene Wind, or Ciel, or Tenoris. These kind of decks that don't mind playing on the edge, they can run Chalice of Blood. And this card is very powerful, and it's even on the watch list of the ban list. There is a chance it will be banned in the future. I don't think it will be anytime soon, but it's on the watch list to tell us that yes, we are looking at this card. Then we have a staple, Safeguard Amulet. Safeguard Amulet is a fantastic card. It's been played since the beginning of this game, and it's never ceased being a good card. It's really good against decks like Fire Yachan, Rai, relatively decent against Rai. It's not fantastic. But any deck that does spell damage, this is a very powerful utility card that you can just slot in. Or you can even side it if the meta is light on non-combat damage. Blinding Orb. Blinding Orb is a bit specific because now with the release of Enfeebling Orb in Phantom Monarchs, this card has become more geared towards assassin decks. But if you want to play this in Xander or in the new Merlin in Tristan, it's a fantastic card. It removes interaction from the opponent, draws you a card, and lets you run off to the races basically and just go for game, for example. So it's a very versatile, very powerful card. Drawn Blade. Drawn Blade is mostly limited to Merlin decks and Lorraine decks because of the class bonus of Warrior. I mean, Jin can play, but Jin would never play this. But the point is, this is a very good card, especially when you loop it to Ascension. It can be a nice draw generation engine, and that's really powerful. Then we have the All-Star, Smoke Bombs. Smoke Bombs is a very versatile card. It can either make a unit you control have stealth, which means your ally is most likely going to survive the turn, or it can be used to blank, intercept, or taunt enemies. Let's say you have an ally that has a taunt, for example. You can't get over and you're trying to go for the kill. You just place smoke bombs on that card. It has stealth now, which nullifies its intercept or taunt, which is fantastic. So if you're playing an attack-heavy deck, smoke bombs is great to have. Assassin's Ripper. This is, again, another Assassin exclusive card. It's mostly played by Tristan. But if you're trying to maybe give your Assassin deck a bit of a buff, this might not be a bad card to consider. It's a 1 cost, which is a bit pricey, but if you can combine something like Slice and Dice or some other attack, it can be really powerful. Then Sword of Seeking. Sword of Seeking is a really great card for warriors because in combination with cards like Devastating Blow or Rending Flames or any attack, a really powerful attack card, it can go through stealth protections and stuff like that to just go for game. And given how much Dream Fairies are running around the format, Cheshire Cats are running in the format, this is a very good card. Poison Dagger is really good for ally-focused decks, especially obviously because of the class bonus that's Assassin. That means if you're playing something like Fire Aggro Xander, for example, or even maybe Merlin, the new Merlin, Fire Aggro, for example, you can just bring this card out, ping the opponent, obviously it renders hindered, but then the next turn, you tap it, you ping an opponent's champion, let's say, and now every time they will take damage for the rest of the turn, they will take 1 additional damage. That means that your whole board, if you have a board of allies, gets buffed in a sense. They're all going in for extra damage, so that's really powerful. And if you're playing an Assassin Allies deck, this is a really good card to have. And finally on the list, we have Luxera's Map. So obviously Luxera's Map is a Luxem card. That means it's only played in Luxem decks. And the class bonus says it costs 1 less to materialize, which means you're more likely to play it in Xander, which is the case. Now, Goja doesn't really play this card. In a, I don't know, maybe in Pantheon perhaps they can consider playing this, but in the standard format, this is a Xander card, and it's a UR. It's a UR that's under $1. So if you're planning to play Xander, this is a really good card to pick up, obviously, because it's a semi-integral card to the deck. It's very important to the deck. All right, next up we have main deck card, and you're gonna notice a trend throughout this. It's all fire and wind cards, because TOA just introduced a lot of powerful wind and fire cards, and unfortunately with water, didn't get as many. It did get some, but not as many as these elements. So let's start off with the first one. We have Devastating Blow. This is a fantastic card, obviously, for Guardians, for Warriors, Lorraine, Tonoris, Ciel, you know. Obviously, the list has to accommodate a card like this. You can't play this in every list and it'll be the optimized best card. But it's a very powerful card. For at level 3, it becomes a 3-cost-7 attack, which is fantastic, obviously. You play this in Lorraine again, as I said, if you play this, either version of Crux Knight, of the Crux version of Lorraine, it's fantastic. So yeah, this is a really powerful card, and if you can pick this up, go for it. Next up, we have Immolation Trap, which is actually one of my favorite cards. I just love the versatility of it. It allows you to destroy any ally, basically. You know, especially with so many Shenju allies running around, Gambu, Seryu, what have you. You can just blank them with this. However, you have to be careful about the level 2 Goja lineage release, which says that it can be protected. Your Shenju ally can be protected from targeting effects once. So I would watch out from that. But if you have 2 of this, for example, it's a done deal. But yeah, this is a very versatile card, and it's a skill which gets around Spell Shot. That's the important part. So it's a really good card to pick up if you're going to play any fire deck and you're worried about the Shenju allies that you cannot kill. Next up, we have the All-Star, Hasty Messenger. This is a fantastic card. It's been fantastic since the beginning of the game, and it's still a fantastic card. It's just the cycling card that Fire has, which is really consistent. It keeps looping your hand, cycling your hand, letting you discard Floating Memory, discard Liminal Guides, draw cards. It's a really good card for your deck, and especially if you're starting the game still and you're missing a lot of more potent options, let's say, Hasty Messenger can help you cycle through. And if you can keep her surviving for at least 2-3 turns, even better. The value it will give you is almost unmatched. Then we have Cremation Ritual. Cremation Ritual, obviously another fire card, another very powerful fire card. Again, combine this with a Floating Memory card, with something like Library Witch that lets you draw. Combine it with Liminal Guide. The value keeps getting better. Honestly, this card's value keeps getting better. It lets you draw. It lets you get rid of dead cards. It lets you get floats, all of that. It's really fantastic. And there's a reason most fire decks are still playing this card to this day. Next up is Creative Shock, which is a companion piece to Cremation Ritual. When you play one, you're going to play the other usually. And most fire decks will play both if it fits their strategy, which is usually level 3 decks. Stuff like Fire Ciel, stuff like Fire Xander, for example, Fire Lorraine, Fire Merlin. It's a fantastic card. It's been fantastic since the beginning of the game. It's a kind of nerfed Graceful Charity from Yu-Gi-Oh!, if you know the equivalent. And it's a really good card. It's a really good card. If you can play it in your fire deck, I would suggest playing it. And again, if you're a new player to the game, you don't have access to powerful cards, the ability to draw new cards and cycle floating memory to progress your strategy, again, as a new player, is fantastic, because it's literally pennies. So I would recommend getting this card. Now we move to the wind cards. We have Reclaim, which is a very versatile card, and you're going to see me say this word a lot now: versatile, because wind is the peak of versatility. This whole gimmick of wind decks is just to keep generating value and cycling and looping the resources. It's evident throughout the wind strategies, and especially in a card like Reclaim. You have a card, it's about to die, you bring it back to your hand, you get a float. Your opponent wasted an attack, and you have floating memory to reward you for it, basically. Stuff like Tristan, for example, can play this stuff. Wind Serio, for example, as well. It's a fantastic card. If you can get this card, if you're playing a wind deck, I would highly recommend it. Next up, we have Veiling Breeze, another all-star. I mean, what element in the game gets a card that says reveal cards from your memory and prevent all kind of damage this turn to your champion? It's insanely powerful. This is an insane card. Veiling Breeze has been insane since the beginning of the game, and it still is to this day. Razor Gale, Serio, Tristan, all kind of decks can play this card, and it's so powerful. And now there are counters to it, but especially if you are a new player, you want defensive options that cost nothing, play Veiling Breeze. But make sure to have a good number of wind cards in your deck. If the wind count is low, the value of this card decreases. It becomes sometimes a dead card, sometimes a not very powerful card, let's say. Next, we have Fairy Whispers, again, with the versatility and the draw. First, Fairy Whispers is a 1 cost, lets you glimpse 3 from the top of your deck, rearrange it, and reveal the top card. If it's a wind, you add it to hand. That's fantastic. You can hold cards in your hand, let the opponent play, based on what they're playing. Maybe it's a Fantasia strategy, maybe it's an ally strategy, depending on what they have, and in response to their actions, you can play a Fairy Whispers, dig for the card you need, and then play it in response. It really doesn't get better than this, honestly. Next, this might be a surprise to some more experienced players, but Trained Hawk is a fantastic ally. It has True Sight, it has Vigor. It's it can be played in a more cookie-cutter allies list. It can be played in Wind Serio, for example, they've been playing it recently. A 2/2 True Sight ally with Vigor that you can, in a wind deck, you can protect, you can loop it to hand, you can buff it, you can do things to keep it alive, is fantastic. And if you're trying to build a more traditional beat-down ally wind deck, I would highly suggest playing 4 of this card. And then finally on this list, we have Zephyr, a card that is peak versatility. It's just suppresses target ally or regalia. Suppressing is where you banish a card and then it comes back in the end phase, basically. So it's like blinking in Magic. It's similar to blinking in Magic, whereas it happens in the end phase. Traditionally, Wind doesn't have any regalia destruction or item destruction. This is the closest they have to it. So if you're looking for a way to interact with maybe a card that's stopping you from playing, maybe a Tariff Ring, maybe a Lantern, Hellfire Lantern, you're just looking for one turn to get a breather and just go in for a big push, Zephyr is the way to go. Or for example, if you're playing against Jin, you wait for Jin to enter their end phase, and if they have if their damage count is above 28 but under 35 because of the armor that they have, you Zephyr their armor in the end phase, they lose their extra health and they automatically die because of the rule, because they only have immortality outside their end phase. If you take away their armor and they're like 29 and 30 health, that means that their Jin is automatically dead. So it's situations like this where Zephyr really shines. Or you can loop cards like Forest Cake, for example. Brunch itself comes back, draws you a card. Any card that says on enter draw a card, you zephyr it, it gives you value. They try to destroy it, for example. You can just zephyr in response. They lose their target. They wasted the card. You get your card. You get your Forest Cake, for example, back. You draw a card. It's not always going to happen, but it exists for similar scenarios, and I want you to think about it in this way. That's how you can get value out of it. And that's it for Dawn of Ashes. And remember, this is the bare minimum. If you don't want to spend money on this game just yet, you want to explore and like experiment a bit and see if this game is really for you and you don't want to invest so much money, go in this direction. Find these cards, maybe in the bulk pile even, and experiment and see how it goes. And you will find a joy in basically going about it in the guerrilla warfare style, where you have to make do with what you have. And personally, it's something I love. Many players I've seen join the game. I've tried to help them play the game and not fussing about, oh, I don't have the expensive cards, or I can't access this card or buy this card or whatever. It's fine. It's fine. You don't have to compete at the highest levels in the beginning. Enjoy the game. Experiment with what you have, you know? And on this topic, a bit off topic actually, I would recommend playing draft events. Draft events help you understand the game a lot, help understand how you can make what's in your hands work and basically cobble together a strategy. Personally, it's one of my favorite things of any card game, playing draft, and it'll give you skills that you will be able to use in the main game as well. But that's besides the point. So yeah, I hope this list helped you. If you think I missed anything, let me know. Just drop them in the comments. Maybe it'll help someone. And yeah, see you on the next one.